I have just now learned to say no. And I'm still guilty when I say no. Can you imagine?
I sometimes feel a man can just, I have a meeting or I have to meet my friends. He can just walk out, easily and just do that. For us, it's like 100 other things have to be done so that, yeah, I go out with my friends and have that 1 hour. It's amazing how, we want so many things in our teenage when it actually looks good on us, but then you have your parents who will provide for you. I've gone through this a lot. Still, I feel that, there are some things that I should have bought it at that time. I should have just asked them to buy it for me. But unfortunately, it was not the case. I mean, it's right that you guys need it and this looks good at this point of time. I feel you should just, ask them for it and buy that dress that you love so much because your 20s is not going to come back. What do you say, Mahua?
I come from an era when they did not understand the concept of personal money at all. Whatever that I began earning very well, and I think very young. And because I started earning very young through internships, a part of my monetary requirements I took care on my own. But before that, it was actually quite stifling to constantly ask and constantly being told no, because I think parenting that time meant that if they ask you for money, please say no. So, this whole concept of having an open conversation about a young girl wanting to follow a trend, about wanting to look in a certain way, of doing anything that they felt was indulgent and it would spoil the girl, it was a blanket statement of saying no. And I remember when mom used to sleep, sometimes I used to just take out like a 50 rupee from inside her wallet till I got caught one day. And, of course, because it was my mother, and she was extremely angry about it. But then now, when I look back, of course, it's a wrong thing to do. And I went out with my friends to have a burger. We used to go to Nirula's in Delhi. That was in Chanakya Puri, and that used to be the hotspot during our time when we were young. It is no longer there, it's Chanakya Mall. And do I feel guilty about it now? I don't think so. I think I wish she would understand that I would want to have a burger and she would be willing to give me that money. I actually don't, because I think I learned a lesson somewhere that, the minute you do that, you're also stopping the lines of communication between your child and you. And my conversation became very sensible with one another. He knew what I could afford. Like, he will not ask me for an iPhone when he was, in his early days. And I think he only owned an iPhone after he joined work and he got it because I was very cognizant of what I went through. I tried to not do that with my child. And of course, by God's grace, he didn't have too many demands that I couldn't fulfill. Whatever little that he had, I tried to be very reasonable about it.
How did you handle, your setting boundaries with your parents now that you're in your 30s? And how did it differ when you were younger?
So, boundaries is a word that I've learned only last year. I did not even know that there is a word called boundary. I mean, it is all very new. These are words and conversations that are only happening now. We were not even cognizant about the word called boundary, because if you are drawing boundary from your parent, you're a bad child. Your parents are supposed to, they're on a pedestal. They know everything about you. Even if it feels wrong, you are not supposed to question that. We come from that era. So boundary is a very new word. Boundary I did not even have with my in my marriage, with my in-laws, with my child, with my friends, with my relatives, with anybody per se. I have just now learned to say no, and I'm still guilty when I say no. Can you imagine?
Yeah, boundaries are never there. It was never there. It's still not there. Like she said, with parents, with in-laws, more than, even for me, in my case, more than my parents, it was with the in-laws. They just ask you anything and everything. I used to feel so uncomfortable, still do, learning to, say the right things at the right time so that I don't offend them. But it's important if you don't have those boundaries. Right now, I'm just learning what to say in a situation wherein you draw that line, but the line is not very visible to the other person. But like, it's learning with each and every, with my parents, it's a different thing. With my in-laws, it's a different thing. but I hear my kid also asking about the boundaries. I mean, he's very small, but still, I now understand, recognize the need for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think especially with close familial relationships, this idea of saying no is associated with so much shame and so much guilt that I can't still at this age when I know what boundaries are. I'm a student who's studying psychology, so I know how important it is to prioritize yourself, etc., etc. But there is still this entire, I think, a wall of shame and guilt attached to it. So, how do you prioritize yourself without feeling guilty about it, as in when you grow up?
As a woman, you're always guilty. You're going to live with guilt forever. You're going to be guilty if your child is really young and you've even gone to the parlor to get a hair touch up or a threading done, or you've gone for a pedicure. We are conditioned, I think, from society to feel guilty for indulging ourselves, and that starts very young. And well, like I said, I have hope, but we are talking urban India. I mean, we still have a huge part of our country that is probably not even, having this conversation. That we are so fortunate today to be sitting in our respective, states and talking about it, our respective, places and talking about it. So shame is going to continue, I think, for really, really long.
Guilt is always there, whatever you do, starting from college. If you don't take science, back in the time when I was in school, I took commerce, and it was like a big shame. Thinking, I mean, right now, if I think about it, what was it really? It was just my choice. I was simplest of choice. It starts from there. And like Mahua said, when you have a kid, even taking a bath when the baby's crying was shamed. How can you be there when the kid is crying? Come out and feed him. All of
Yeah.
those things. Even now,
Yes.
now that my kid is in school, so mom shame, the other moms are too much into their studies. You don't know that this thing is being taught? No, I have work to do. Oh my God, why didn't you? So it's like every day, anything. I'm sure you guys also would be going through stuff, right? The shaming for unnecessary stuff, which it's not needed.
So, when talking about finances and money in general, I think women and humans in general have a very complicated and an extremely dependent relationship with money, right? And I've heard so many various perspectives on if it brings happiness, if it does not. And although I understand that it's important to have money to sustain yourself, but do you also kind of equate money with happiness? Yes, no, and why?
I 100% equate money with happiness. There is no way that I would want to have less money. I can travel, I can go meet my child, I have access to good health care, I have access to, choosing courses that I want to do, and none of this comes on fresh air and love. They all come for money. So, and if I have money and I can do something that is giving back, a philanthropic maybe project that I want to continue after I've had, where people around me who are working and they're taken care of, and I'm taken care of for myself, because if I'm not well, nobody else is well around me. Oh no, money, give me more, give me more.
So, do you believe that it's okay to kickstart your career in your 30s or maybe later?
You're talking to a person who's kickstarted her career in her late 40s. So I rebooted my career in my late 40s. I mean, so I be the person to tell you that. And if I were to look back, I think I was really happy being there for my son. Um, being part of this entire journey of his, because my mother was a working woman and I wanted to be more present for my child than what my ma could, because my ma did not earn for career but for financial reasons. And and the time when I was at home not earning, I think within that first year of how when I quit my career very, very, with this whole glorious shake of my hand saying that I want to be a good mom, I want to be at home. And I really gave up my career at the pinnacle of my job as a national head of an PR agency, of an advertising agency, which is among the top 10 in the country. And well, within a year, I realized what I had done, because I started to feel quite humiliated to ask for money. But because my child was very young and he had a lot of allergies, and I enjoyed being a mom, a lot of it remained, I think, not spoken, not expressed, because every time I felt depressed, it would already be time for him to come back from school, and the thought just would pass till the day he left. In 2017 is when I came back, and I didn't know what was my purpose in life any longer. And the reboot, my goodness, I have to tell you that I was cheated by friends. I was told, you become a lady of leisure, sit at home, do nothing, chill out, travel. But I needed a purpose much more than that. And I rebooted when I was 46 or 47, 47 years old, 48 years old. Yeah, I'm bad with math. But yeah, and even at home, I wasn't allowed to reboot. I had to go to a cafe to start writing.
Well, growing up in a very extremely patriarchal, very typical patriarchal wala household, I've always been told that you have to compromise. Sometime, someday in life, you might have to either compromise your job for your kids or vice versa. And I've always been told that just women cannot have it all. So, like you're all, above 30 and all, do you think this idea, this entire trope of having it all exists?
Oh, well, a woman should compromise and she can't have it all. I don't think so. I think a woman is capable of having it all. And it may be a little tougher than what it would be for a man. For example, if tomorrow I want to, become an athlete, and I want to practice only in the evenings, and I want to go in and join, maybe a marathon. But I don't think as a woman I can go out late at night and run, which a man would not even understand what it's like. They take this completely for granted, that I'm okay to go out and practice in the evening my badminton match or my football or my, running. But as a woman, I have to do it when it's daylight, when there are people all around. I cannot afford to do it when it is quiet, when it's dark, when it's in the wee hours, in the morning or at night. I wanted to be different, than what my parents were with me, because my mother did not have a choice, like I said, about working. And so, yeah, I think we compromise because of all these things in life. We do.
I agree. So, like Mahua said, when after a point when you have to do something, like for example, if I have to do a meeting, I have to think of 20 other things that I have to do first so that I have this time free for myself. So, the lunch, yes, tick. The kids' activity at that time, yes, ticked. So many tick marks, so many plannings have to be done so that it is done. Whereas I sometimes feel a man can just, I have a meeting or I have to meet my friends, he can just walk out, easily and just do that. For us, it's like 100 other things have to be done so that, yeah, I go out with my friends and have that 1 hour. So compromise, yes, but I have a different point of view also. So even for a man, I'm sure after sometimes they are in a family setup, they also have sometimes do that compromise for the family. I mean, even for in a work, in a team, we all do compromises, right? Somebody has to go take a leave, so we take up their work. So I think that's there. It's not, I mean, do not be disheartened that you are a woman and now you have to do all the compromise. That's not the case. It's like you can do it, and the compromise will not come as a big sacrifice if you've planned for it. But sometimes it happens to all man, women alike. Is that it's something that I tell myself to cheer myself up.
Now when we talk about how planning is essential in our lives, and there should be a timeline for things, do you believe that there should be a strict timeline, as in get married by 25, have a child by 30? So do you think all of this makes sense in today's era?
Well, it depends on what is it that you want in life. If you are very clear about the fact that you want to be married and you want to become a mother, and you want to, have all of these things, then getting married at a younger age and having a child at a younger age is a lot easier on your body, because a woman's body goes through so many changes. It is easier. But if you think that, you want to pursue your dreams, your ambition, your career, your work that may require you to travel, and how much ever we say that we have a support system, a mother is a mother is a mother. The grandmother can never become the mother. And so I just feel that yes, a lot of women today are really deciding to not get married and not have children because they have seen a whole generation of women who have given up on a lot of their own ambitions in life while they've continued. So I really don't know if both of them can go hand in hand, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to have the child, you're the one who's going to go through 2 years of your hormones coming together. It's only now that people are talking about postpartum depression. It's only now that I have a word called empty nester syndrome. I do not know, do you know? I was so guilty for feeling sad that my son had left and I did not have a purpose in life. So timings, I think does matter on the choices you make. And if you make those choices and you are happy with those choices, those are all very personal things, I think, in a human being's life. One can't put really a blanket statement and say what works for the goose can work for the gander.
Yeah, so sometimes even the best laid plans don't go as per we feel. So, it totally depends. You have to have your priorities right. Like you have to have your education at the right time because, doing your, completing your education after having a kid will be like really difficult. So those things have to go at a certain timeline. Rest, just go with the flow because even if you plan a lot, it does not always go as per plan. So you plan on having the right person in your life. What if it doesn't work out? You plan on having a good career. What if it doesn't work out? So you just take life as it comes and do not stress too much on the timeline part of it. Things will just happen. Just be faith. Have faith in what the your destiny is, and if you have something, if you have an ambition, always work towards it.
Do you get emotionally more stronger after your 30s? What would you advise your younger self at this point of time?
Oh, well, I wasn't strong at all. Emotionally strong, no, not at all. I think I was the most malleable, wanting to please every Dick, Tom, and Harry around me, even please the vegetable vendor by saying, "Thank you, bhaiya, welcome, bhaiya." And, I wanted to please everybody because I was told that I should be a good girl. And this whole good girl syndrome continued with me forever. And yeah, the more I got dejected, rejected, betrayed, lied to, told that I don't belong, at many places, is when I got stronger, because I learned that I'll have to make my own mark. I'll have to start establishing my own position in the playground around me that's not going to be willing to take me in. And emotionally stronger, I do believe that unless a person has gone through a certain amount of trials and tribulations and trauma, one cannot truly say that they become really, really strong. So, in a way, I think also going through all the situations that I've faced in life is a gift for me because only that made me stronger.
A 20-year-old me would just cry at anything, even somebody being rude to me, I will just burst out. Now I have is that good? I don't know, but I can withstand a lot more of rejections and dejections, like Mohua said. I think I didn't have to go through all that to become this. I could have just been like any other lucky person around. But unfortunately, like Mohua said, we do become stronger. And looking back, the 20-year-old me wouldn't have done so much that I am doing right now with so much of perseverance. So, okay, that has done good for me. So, fine. Yeah, we do become more emotionally strong with the life experiences.
While talking about resilience and emotions, I am a very angry 20-year-old. I feels like I'm constantly in a battlefield and everyone is against me. I see the state of the world. It gets better for some, but worse for the others. And it gets very difficult to acknowledge my privilege and still be hopeful for everyone else in the world. So on the other side, is there hope and how do we see it?
a lot has changed for women. Like you said, we are a privileged lot. There are a whole lot of women out there in the world that we read every day who don't even have this, like Mohua just said, they can't sit like this and even talk, they are not allowed to. So we are privileged, but sometimes I do agree, when you're 20, you don't see that. You feel that, why can't I get it all, and is this world worth it? But from my experience, it has come a long way. We've earned so much, back when I was in school, I if I have to I had to take leave for my periods every month, and we were not even allowed to say periods. We used to use so many words. So I couldn't tell my female teacher that I am taking a my teacher used to call up my parents and say, see, she's taking leave every month, and obviously she should know because she's a woman, about it. It was not even allowed in a leave letter. Right now we are talking about menstrual leaves, so that is how much the society is changing slowly, but yes, we are changing.
Definitely the changes are happening, and like I said, that it has to continue and continue, because with every decade there would be new challenges for women, and it is so layered, it is at such levels, like to that extent that even our clothing don't have pockets. It's as small as that, because we have small purses that they think that we can only carry a vanity purses. For sure, but I'm extremely I'm elated when I see hashtag Me Too happening, how the digital world took over. Then there was hashtag Kutu, I think, I'm sure, in Japan, where these girls said that we're not going to wear high heels through the day and sell stuff as sales girls in stores. And, these are all pencil-sized heels, and men can just wear flat shoes and be there comfortably, doing their job. And this is from morning to night. So I think there is change that's happening, but again, like I said, that every year there is a new challenge that comes up. Now there is also something called the trad wives, that a lot of youngsters in the Western world, and I do see that percolating into India, where they're talking about, oh, the grandmother wore this nightie and she had everything paid for. Without recognizing that the grandfather was actually, some of the grandfathers were women beaters. Some of the grandfathers did not worry about her biological health, and all she did through that entire youth of hers was to produce one child after the other. So these are all trends that are happening, and it is very disturbing. And it frightens me, because there's so much of work that's taken up in this world today. And I think in India, there's been a lot of progress, which I feel so happy about. But like I said, there's still so much to go. And I really pray that I see that housewives in India get a better treatment than what they are currently getting across, the nation or society at large.